So we actually have Brad Korn coming in today to talk to us about database.
Changed gears, because what I do when I get stage time, it's really to pack as much meaningful information that you can take back into your business and put into place as possible. And everybody gets something different from a training. So today, though, I scrapped all that. I'm just going to be Brad sitting up here talking to you and just going to be real with you about what's really happening. Do you guys realize what's going on in this office? I want to bring the height of awareness up to what this Tuesday morning meeting is. And I have made a couple notes. We can actually go to the next one, I think. When we were just talking about, this was the Tuesday, this was the Tuesday morning meeting last week. How many of you got a little bit excited last week's meeting about your database, right? How many took something away that you've actually applied and put into your business directly from that meeting, right? So this is what I want to do, guys. This is the last meetings that came up. So Robin, Ginevra, Amy, I mean, they got me pumped. Like, I was coming out of my skin. I was glad I actually wasn't sitting in the meeting the entire time, because I probably wouldn't have shut up. I would have been like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So that's where this came from. But listen, Dan Odell, how many of you were in here when Dan was talking to us about affiliate partners and building that pillar of your business, right? How many of you were in here, and I'm not even going to say his name right. I'm going back to November. Fiaz Dezegi. Fiaz. From Carolinas. How many were in here for that meeting? All right, I'm going to pause for a second. When he was talking about his business dropped, who heard what he said after that they put their team on something and they went into it and they realized they were converting 4 times more business? Does anybody remember what that was? What's that? The database. Listen, this is the stuff, this is what I want to bring to awareness. When you're here on Tuesday, there's stuff happening that we're missing, okay? And you can't catch it all. I mean, we got 10,000 needles falling in this meeting, every single meeting. And I've been trained to notice those things, because I've been a MAPS coach, I've been all that stuff. So I hear it all happening, and that's what drove this meeting today. He talked about his database. Their business dropped because they built their business on a lot of the internet leads and all these people that are coming into the database, right? Feeding your database every day isn't feeding it with 100 new internet leads every month, people. It is the people that already know you and like you, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. But what he said was, we put all of our people on the database, and we started calling through the people we already know, and oh my gosh, it was like 1 out of 10 people turned into an appointment. Right now, so many agents are working out of 1 out of 100 people. Oh, I forgot to turn my little timer on so I can stay on track. There we go. That will be hard to do, right? All right, I'm going to go back even further. How many of you were in here when Brian Huff sat up here on a panel and he was talking to us about his business? How many people were in at that one? Okay, did you guys hear what he does? I'm going to tell you right now the secret to $1 million, and the not so secret why I don't make $1 million a year, is because he is, if you didn't hear it, his team makes sure he is on the phone. Guess how many hours a day? 5 days a week. I think he's in 4. All right. I think he's on the phone 4 hours a day. 3 of those days I know are literally database contact management. People not moving, just relationship building. One of them was calling their current clients. One of them was probably calling their past clients or affiliates or something like that. It's real. Like, that's how you make $1 million. And we have him sitting right here in the market center, right? So I would challenge you to ask him if you could shadow him for a day, but it'll be the most boring day of your life, because it's 4 hours of watching him talk on the phone. You're not going to learn anything other than, maybe I should be on the phone every day talking to people that already know me, right? So those are the kind of things that just came. And then Jason, last week when we were doing awards, how many of you heard him say, man, if I would have just not worried about the typos and just did this 15 years ago, where he already is today, he knew he would have been there then. So that's what kind of today is to talk about. I'm not going to really go through all my slides today. Like I said, I'm going to skip a few things. But here's the challenge. We are so busy as real estate agents, and everybody's at different levels, right? We've got the big teams, we've got the new teams, but everybody at some level is an individual agent doing their part. We have to do everything from writing a contract, putting up open house signs, figuring out my next marketing like little highlight thing that's going to attract more people to call me. We got contracts, we got closings, we got to go pick up our sign-in lockbox afterwards, our keys. All this stuff is happening. And one of the things that I did early on in my career was I figured out that my highway was always under construction. So as an individual agent, I was super busy doing all this stuff. And I had built a 2-lane highway, basically the metaphor I want to give you. And I heard Gary say this once. And he said, it's a 2-lane highway, and that's what I was trying to cram everything through. So here's the coolest thing about real estate. Unlike coming into the office every day when there's construction on the highway and right around rush hour traffic, they took, 470, 435 from 2 lanes to 4 lanes once. They took it from 4 lanes to 5 lanes. We don't have to put our business under construction every time you outgrow yourself. When you hire your first assistant, that's when you take your 2-lane highway and build a 3-lane highway, right? And then when you hire your first buyer's agent, you build it to a 4-lane highway. Guys, one of the smartest things I ever did was I realized that the people had already been there before me. So I found the people that already had 20-lane highways, and I just did what they were doing. So I built a 20-lane highway for my business when I was only using 3 lanes. I don't think I've ever used more than 4 lanes of this 20-lane highway, which is why I jokingly say it's like I'm the laziest realtor that sells 100 homes a year, And today, even by myself, selling 60 homes a year is nothing. Like, it does not run my life. I goof off more than I work. So I just have fun doing real estate. What I do is I have fun, and real estate falls in there because I follow up with the database. So this is what I want to really hit on today, and that is that your database. The people already know you, like you, trust you. They want to work with you. And when you focus on the people that already know you, like you, and trust you, they're going to do business with you, and you don't have to do a ton of marketing. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here of what I figured out this year. So the last 2 years, I've focused on a lot of the internet lead generation stuff. Now, we hear these things coming from Mega Camp, Family Reunion, all these things bringing in leads from the internet. So I've done it for 2 years, and I do everything to break the system. Break it meaning I want to make it work. So most of the internet leads that come in, your outer ring of your MREA graphic is the haven't met group, right? And those convert at about 1 to 2%. It's 50 to 1 is 2%, right? That's what the book says. So I focused this last year to figure out how to convert internet leads and turn them into real business. Here's what I found out. Most of the business that you're getting, if they didn't know you, like if you just attracted them from the internet and you're awesome at converting them, we get those people through the transaction really fast, and we take them through and it's an awesome sale. Like I had one listing, it was an out-of-town seller, came through the website, listed their house, sold it in 14 days. 14 days, smoothest sale ever. You know what my review was on Google when I sent it out just last week? Now this was a couple years ago. She gave me a 1-star. And she said, Brad made us drop our price on our house, and then he sold his house to his niece. Now, when I saw that, I'm like, what the heck? I don't have a niece I've ever sold a house to, first of all. So I go back and I research, and it's like, I sold her house in 14 days. An offer came in $5,000 under asking price, and she wanted to take it. So I said, let's drop your price in MLS by $5,000 before we take this, just in case there's another buyer out there that would pay $2,000 more. That's my marketing tactic, right? So we dropped it because we already had an offer in hand. I look at it, it's a co-op agent from another company, and I have no clue who the buyer is. So I called her, and I call. I don't just email, text. I called her and go, hey, there's something going on here. This is not right. Well, that's what the neighbors told me. And then I realized she was out of town. Here's what I'm getting at. We never had a relationship. She came in. I did an awesome job. I blew her socks off. But she doesn't know me from Adam today because we never met. So some of these business leads we get are so shallow, you guys. They're not going to turn into future business. Now, you can create a relationship if it's somebody local and you sell them their next house. That's a different story. So just remember, a lot of the leads that you're focusing on or that you think you want are very shallow, and it's not going to be the future business that just keeps building on it, right? So what's that look like? We're going to play a little game here. This is perfect timing. We're going to be way okay to get you guys out of here on time. How often does the average person move here? 7 years? 10? 7? Yeah, we still, anybody around 5? 5? Okay. So this is what this looks like. There are, if you had 100 people in your database, and I think I put 7 years on here. If they're moving every 7 years, if you have 100 people that you're talking to over the next 7 years, one of them are moving a month. But let's look at the next picture. 1,000 people in your database. How many people have close to 1,000 people in their database? All right, so look at this. This is just the database, and I don't even care if those people are people you know or they're past clients or they're internet leads. They're in your database right now. Do you know that if they're moving every 7 years, 142 of them are moving in the next 12 months? In the next 12 months. Every single person sitting in this room, if you have 1,000 people, it's 142 sales. That's 12 sales a month. I didn't figure out some secret. Well, I'm revealing the curtain on the secret, and the biggest secret of all is there's not a secret, right? I don't close 8 to 10 deals a month because I figured something out you didn't know. I also don't do it because my parents were in real estate. They weren't. They never were. I'm first-generation realtor. In fact, the first 3 years I was in real estate, you know, when you get into real estate, how many new people we have in here? Yeah, how many of you are excited about making a $10,000 commission check, right? I mean, selling a house. Guys, I remember when I first got in real estate, those first 3 years, I made 10 grand over the 3 years I was in real estate. I had 2 other jobs to support my real estate habit, right? So I'm giving you a shortcut of what I figured out by hanging around those people that have the 20-lane highways. So those 1,000 people, this is what a top agent, so if you're a big team in here and or you've been in business for 30 years, do you know how many people I coached that have been in real estate for 30 years and they tell me they have 500 people in their database? If you've been anywhere for 30 years, how many people do you think you know in Kansas City, Judy? People that you've ever met entirely, not past clients. I'm talking anybody over your lifetime. Have you met more than 10,000 people in Kansas City? Yeah. So if you are a big database with 5,000 people, and well, let's just say this. If you put 5 people in your database every single day, 5 days a week, how many is that a week? Who's doing math? 25 a week, 100 a month. Now, I'm talking 5 days a week. Who told you you could have weekends off as a realtor? I am, all right? If you do this now, where we are in the economy right now and the market that we have right now, if you had done what I did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you have a recession-proof business. And I'm hitting on this because I remember, I think it was in like 08 or 09, sitting in my office just doing my normal follow-up stuff. And my phone rings, and it's Gary Keller's assistant saying, hey, Gary wants to schedule a call with you. I'm like, listen, I'm not the big dog doing 300 sales a year, and like I hang out in the room with all those people. I do hang out with all those people, but I'm not the one that gets the invite to the upper echelon thing. So when Gary Keller's calling you to talk to you, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. How soon does he want to meet? I'm like, available right now, right? Here's how he started out the conversation. He's like, Brad, I'm watching your numbers. First of all, did you hear that? Bring this to awareness. Gary Keller's watching a little guy in Kansas City and sees I'm selling 100 homes that year. And he says, I'm watching your numbers, and I'm really curious. What was the market like in 08, 09? Crashed market, right? Crashed. He said, how do you keep selling 100 homes a year every year, whether the market's good or the market's bad? That's what I want to talk to you about. And he did an Agent Mountain interview on why. And guys, this is what I'm going to share with you today. Are you guys excited about that? Yeah. Like literally, you got to first get in the mindset that I'm going to show you something that every single person in this room can have. So it might hurt you just a little bit when you see it. So caution, this is the time where you can take the chicken exit now and live in your world where you are happy, or I can make you feel a little gut-wrenching pain and like really grab onto this because you're in the right, I mean, they can't give us the information anymore. They are giving you the core stuff in this meeting every single week. All of us are, right? So in if you put 5 people, or I think what I've got here is top agents database is putting 5 a day. Yeah. So if you put 5 people a day, 25 people a month, wait, stop, people. We talked about leads. I'm talking people. Every single person you know, right? Every single person you know. Here's a quick exercise. Write down the number of Facebook friends you have. If you can do it on your phone right now, it'll tell you on the tab of how many friends you have. How many, just yell out some numbers if you know how many Facebook friends you have. What's that? 19? 960. 1860. All right. So you get where we are. Okay, now, go to your contacts record on your phone. You know the little, if you're an iPhone, it's the little brown one with the person on it. Click on your contacts, and then the top left arrow, go over to see how many total contacts you have. Huh? 2,200. So we've got somewhere around 900, 1,200, 1,800 on Facebook. We got somewhere around, does anybody have less than 1,000 people in their phone? Yeah, okay. 980 again? All right. So you got over 1,000 in your phone book, right? So if you just contacted 5 of the people, you contact everyone on your Facebook friends list, and you contact everyone on your phone, seems a little overwhelming, right? But if you did it 5 a day, 5 days a week, and you did this for the next 5 years, how many of you are getting out of real estate before the next 5 years? I mean, if you are, you need to come talk to me. We got to take the fast track. But how many of you are going to be in real estate in 5 years from now? Okay. So if you did 5 a day for the next 5 years, you will have 6,000 people in your database. That's 714 closings are happening every single year. If you just slow down a second, 5 a day, every day, do that like a regimented thing, and then stay in touch with them, right? Stay in touch with them forever. Over the next 5 years, you will have over 700 transactions happening out of your database every day. So how many of you would be okay with 300 transactions a year, right? Some of you still haven't gotten over how the heck I don't want to work that hard. This ain't working hard. This is working with people I know, like, and trust me. I don't have to work. We play. We have fun, right? How many of you would just take 100 of those, right? So I'm challenging this office right now that everybody can do 100 sales in a year, and here's how we're going to do it. You got to be top of mind. See, right now, we're all calling out trying to find the next deal. So I got to call 100 people. And remember I said about every 5 years, 7 years, that's close to 20%. Somewhere between 10 to 20% of those 100 people are moving in the next 12 months. You know why it's so hard to like lead generate, and when you call 100 people, you only get 1 or 2 appointments? 10 to 20 of those people are moving in the next 12 months. But remember, we're calling them right now. So right now, only 1 or 2 of those 10 or 20 people know they're one of the 20 people right now. Here's the trick. Here's what I want you to get. Next month, there's another 1 or 2 out of that 20 that are moving. But you didn't call those same 100 people. You called another 100 people, a different group of 100 people, right? And the next month, there's another 1 or 2 out of those 20 that are moving. And let's go down the year. It's like now, if I just called those 100 people every single month for the next 5 to 7 years, guess how many sales I would have from those 100 people? This is easy math, 100. I'd have 100 sales. So if I add 5 people a day, 100 people a month, and I do that for 12 months, I've added 1,200 people to my database, right? How many sales is that? You can have 1,200 sales in the next 5 to 7 years by starting now. So I'm really just passionate about getting in it now before the market turns so you can take advantage of it. Now I'm going to prove one last thing. I want to play a game. And I'm going to, here's how the top of mind works, and I think it's best to experience it. So our human brain, through some tests, said we could remember 7 brands at any given time and all this other stuff, right? So I want to play a branding game, and I'm just going to randomly pick a couple people up front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give a product, and if you were picked, I want you just to name as many brands as you can think of. Just start rattling them out. Now, everybody else play, but don't help. Just let's watch what they say and hear what they say. So I'm going to play a game. I'm going to pick you for the first one, all right? So I'm going to give you an easy one, tennis shoes.
Oh, it'd be Nike.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. All right, you didn't fail, right? All right, we're going to go over here. I'm going to pick you, and we're going to say potato chips.
Lay's, Doritos, those sour cream and onion ones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, last one. I'm going to pick you, and we're going to go with toothpaste.
AIM, Crest, Sensodyne.
All right. Okay. Do you know what you all just experienced? NAR statistics. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? NAR statistics. 76, 76, 77, 78% of all sellers talk to how many agents before they list their house? One. Another 19% will talk to two. If we just stop right there, 92, 93, 94% of the time they talk to one or two agents, right? You need to be the Nike, the Lay's, and who said Crest, right? Or Colgate. You need to be the Nike, Lay's, and Crest when they think of buying or selling, and we're never going to just call them all randomly on the day that they've decided to do that. So you have to be better. And I'll tell you what else I learned about these internet leads, how shallow those internet relationships are. There are people in my database that got knocked off of plans that have not been followed up with, and they're getting snagged up by this urgency to do something right now. When there was 20 offers on a house, my clients would walk in a house and they would buy a house. I've probably lost a dozen sales this year, and I'm like, Jason, I think you would think I'm the master at following up with my database. I'm really, really good. I'm better than most people in the whole entire company, but it's not perfect. And anybody that I lose touch with or I don't make that call when the system said to call, I have a chance of losing them. So I didn't want to skip. This is one other thing I'll give you on this perspective. We've got about a minute left here. How many know this graphic? It's in the MREA book, right? And if you like what I'm saying today, I want you to get the MREA book off your shelf. If you're new and you haven't gotten a copy yet, I think the office might have a copy laying around here somewhere. Yeah, you can get one. Pages 133 through 148. 133 through 148. Now, this is my personal opinion, but it's based on experience and what I've built in my business. This is your one thing. All right, this is your one thing. Until you master this, your business will always be kind of a struggle. When you master it, it will start to get fun again, and your phone starts ringing. So I had a MAPS course called Make the Phone Ring Again, because I don't go looking for business. I just add new people to my database every day, and the phone rings with business all the time, right? So pages 133 through 148, how many quick math people do we have here? How many pages is that? 15 pages. Gary Keller says to read the MREA book how many times? Originally, what he used to say? 12 times, right? Just read 15. Can you read 15 pages 12 times? Put a sticky note on page 133, put a sticky note on page 148, and every time, when you get to 148, go back and put a tally, and read it again, and put a tally, and read it again, and put a tally. So when I was coaching people, another thing that fascinated me is it's about the fourth or fifth or sixth read of something that you're like you're going to get excited the first time you read it, especially after this. You're going to go, oh, this is what he was talking about. Second time, you're going to go, oh, this is what he's talking about. This is still good. The fourth time, you're like, oh, that's what I need to do. The 7th, 8th, and 10th, and 12th time, all of a sudden you're feeding your database every day, and one day you look back and go, oh, look at that. Do your contact database total, however many people are in your database, write it down at the beginning of every week. And then every week you write it down and see what the number is. That's how I knew I was feeding my database every day. So just a little simple trick. But, oh, this is what I was going to say. So when they talk about not connected and connected, what I figured out is if you master the inner ring, the 8x8 ring, the MET, start with your MET people. In fact, many of you, if you've been in business for a while, your past clients are not METs. They've moved back out to the haven't met ring. How can I sell a house and be a not met? I met them to sell the house, right? No, it's connected and not connected. They have moved to the outer ring, and not connected is the same as haven't met. They've forgotten about you. So you got to move them back to the met. I'm not going through all this stuff. This is just some of the stuff here. Yeah, that's it, actually. That's where I want to leave it. So I want to lastly say, let me see what my closeout was here. So guys, I'm living my best life, but it's my best life. I can absolutely guarantee you there's nobody in here that wants my life. I'm crazy. I mean, I went to a haunted house convention last weekend on Saturday, and it was the best day of my life, right? I mean, I wake up on Sunday morning after church, and before church, and I turn on Ozzy Osbourne. So this is my best life. I don't live in a 10,000 square foot mansion house. I live in a house with a view of the lake, and I got my dock across the street. I will never leave that house. It is my perfect life. So I don't have $1 million in the bank because I don't go 4 hours a day every single day. If I just dedicated to that, I'd be at $1 million. But I'm living my perfect life. So just know that if your perfect life entails $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million, every single one of you can have it. You just got to do this 5 a day every single day. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Yeah.
All right.